We are now at the Bund, or Waitan to the local Chinese, which is fame gained since mid-19th century. This is the most famous attraction of Shanghai. Tourists will surely come here for a visit to see the old and new sights of Shanghai. Located east of the Huangpu River is Pudong, home of some of the tallest skyscrapers and the financial hub. On the west is Puxi, where Shanghai's most famous heritage buildings are located.
All the brightly lit skyscrapers and old buildings on the Bund grasp visitors' immediate attention. Not many know the history behind these grand buildings. Shanghai Tongji University professor Qian Zonghao said Shanghai is fortunate to have preserved its heritage buildings on the Bund. At a talk attended by history and architecture lovers, he introduces some of the most famous buildings on the Bund. When the concession period that started in 1843, the Bund was merely a barren beach. When George Balfour, the first British consul of Shanghai, established the British settlement in the area, with several British merchants, he named the place as the Bund, an Indian word that means off-town river beach. Merchants from Britain, France, the United States and other countries settled on the Bund by building their offices, clubs and residences. During the 1840s and 50s, the buildings on the Bund were characterized by their square-shaped architecture and verandas, usually referred as the East Indian style. The Bund was slowly transformed from a beach to a seafront when Shanghai opened to foreign trade for the first time. By late 19th century, more buildings were erected on the Bund, and Shanghai became one of the most important commercial ports in the Far East. Luxurious buildings in the European and American fashion began to appear on the Bund in early 20th century. These buildings were built at extravagant cost and with the highest standards available at that time. By 1937, the construction of the buildings on the Bund was completed, and these buildings have been pretty much retained until now.
I don't think heritage is only stuff that's hundreds of years old. Heritage is still 50s and 60s. The stuff I saw today in the old part of Shanghai, you still had, leading up to Bridge 8 there, you still had 1930s and 1920s buildings, but that still is a representative age of Shanghai.
There are now 23 heritage buildings on the Bund. They feature Gothic, Baroque, Roman, Classic, Renaissance and Art Deco architectures. So, let's look at some of the most famous buildings that still stand in grandeur on the Bund. Firstly, the British Consulate, built in 1872. Upon the arrival of the British consul and merchants, they built a consulate office in the Shanghai Old Town near Yuyuan and City God Temple. They then moved to the present location on the Bund in 1850. In 1870, a fire razed the building and the present building was rebuilt in 1872. The former British consulate will be further preserved under a restoration plan called Project Waitan Yuan. Next up is the former Commercial Bank of China, built in 1897. This Gothic-style 4-story building with masonry structures was designed by Morrison, Gretton and Scott. The bank was founded by Sheng Xuanhuai, a high-ranking official in the Imperial Court. It became the first bank invested by a Chinese and offered short-term loans to local money houses to lessen foreigners' control. The building, now called No. 6 Bund, is converted into a chic place with upmarket outlets, boutiques and restaurants. Tiandi, a restaurant serving Chinese cuisines, occupies the 3rd floor of the building.
选择在那个外滩这个位置开这家店，是因为这个建筑整个建筑是。
We choose the Bund area to open our restaurant because of the characteristics of the building. This building exudes the feel of old Shanghai in the 1920s. When you come here, you will get a taste of the Art Deco architecture of the building. Our customers are made up of foreigners and local businessmen. When they come here, not only do they raise their profile, they also get to enjoy their meals amidst a quiet atmosphere.
The China Merchant Steamship Navigation Company building was built in 1901. This red brick neoclassical style building is now turned into a cozy boutique, and parts of the building remains as the office of a shipping company. Behind the building is another protected 2-story building occupied by Annabelle Lee Boutique. A lot of works have been carried out by the boutique operator to repair the dilapidated ceilings, walls and floor and transform it into what it is today. Spacious showroom with walls decorated with floral-influenced wooden windows. The 80-something-year-old building had been reinforced with steel. At the entrance of the boutique, there is an air well constructed based on the residential architecture of the ancient town of Huizhou in China's Anhui province. The Annabelle Lee Boutique is a good example of how the heritage buildings on the Bund could be utilized and turned into a vibrant tourist attraction. The most famous buildings on the Bund are undeniably the two blocks of Peace Hotel. The 13-story North Block was built in 1929 by British businessman Victor Sassoon, based on the Art Deco and Gothic architecture. It was then turned into Cathay Hotel before it was named Peace Hotel in 1956. An imposing pyramid-shaped structure exudes elegance, and Cathay Hotel was the venue for socialites of old Shanghai. When it was completed in 1929, Sassoon Mansion was the first high-rise building on the Bund. Opposite is the 6-story South Block of Peace Hotel, built in 1906, based on a combination of the Renaissance style and Queen Anne architecture, characterized by red and white bricks. Professor Qian said the hotel is decorated with wooden furniture and wall finishing. It also boasts the first Otis lift and rooftop garden in the city. During World War II, the Japanese occupied the Dan Palace Hotel. In 1947, the Chinese Dacheng Corporation bought the building until it ran out of business in 1952. The building was then rented to the Shanghai Municipal Construction Bureau before it was reinstated and renamed as Peace Hotel. Both the north and south blocks of the hotel are now under renovations. Before its closure for renovations, many visitors took the opportunity to take photos of the historical buildings.
We are majoring in tourism. We purposely come here to see for ourselves what our professor had taught us. Because Peace Hotel is undergoing renovations, we come here to see what it's like before and after the hotel is renovated.
Finally, let's look at the former Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank, or HSBC building, regarded as the most gorgeous building on the Bund. Built in 1923, this neoclassical Greek-style building exudes elegance, among other buildings in the area. Visitors who have seen the building's interior will be fascinated by the wall and ceiling painting made of mosaic at the building's entrance hall. The painting narrates the different HSBC banks in major cities like Tokyo, London, and Shanghai. The building is characterized by round pillars and other decorative works bearing Greek characters. This building was built by HSBC at a high cost. In 1955, the Shanghai municipal government took over the building before it was turned Shanghai Pudong Development Bank. Other heritage buildings on the Bund include the Customs House, which has an imposing clock tower and was built in 1927, the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, that is used to be called Yokohama Bank, built in 1923, the AIA building, that is the former site of the North China Daily building, built in 1921, and Dongfeng Hotel, used to be home of the Shanghai Club, where British men and socialites met in 1920s and 30s. These colonial buildings remain Shanghai's most important buildings that reflect the Western culture during the concession days. Along with more than 600 buildings and sites in Shanghai, these buildings on the Bund have been named the architectural treasure of the city. While more skyscrapers will be built in this fast-growing city, the other side of this old Shanghai is sad to stay.